chimpanzee, and bonobo are humans' closest living relatives. These three species look alike in many ways, both in body and behavior. But for a clear understanding of how closely they are related, scientists compare their DNA, an essential molecule that's the instruction manual for building each species. Humans and chimps share a surprising 98.8% of their DNA. The question: does human evolution mean that our ancestors were chimpanzees hanging from trees in forests? The short answer is no. The complete answer begins with no species turns into another through evolution, and continues with how some are related through shared ancestors. Humans did not evolve from monkeys. Human evolution started from a shared ancestor that looked neither like humans nor like monkeys. Humans evolved from ancestors like Australopithecus and Homo habilis. This shared ancestor dates back to some million years ago, while the earliest human fossils date to 200,000 years ago. Then how can we be so similar and yet so different? Human and chimp DNA is so similar because the two species are so closely related. Science says humans, chimps and bonobos descended from a single ancestor species that lived 6 or 7 million years ago. As humans and chimps gradually evolved from a common ancestor, their DNA, passed from generation to generation, changed too. In fact, many of these DNA changes led to differences between human and chimp appearance and behavior. Let's examine the evidence. Matching DNA? Human and chimp DNA is nearly identical when you compare the bands on chromosomes, the bundles of DNA inside nearly every cell. Which two chromosomes are more alike? Human and chimp X chromosomes both contain about 1,100 different genes, or sets of instructions. Each gene affects a particular trait in the body. For example, seeing red color. Most genes in humans and chimps are nearly identical. Both species have the OPN1LW gene, which allows them both to see the color red. And yet so different. If human and chimp DNA is 98.8% the same, why are we so different? Numbers tell part of the story. Each human cell contains roughly 3 billion base pairs, or bits of information. Just 1.2% of that equals about 35 million differences. Some of these have a big impact, others don't. And even two identical stretches of DNA can work differently. They can be turned on in different amounts, in different places or at different times. Same genes, behaving differently. Although humans and chimps have many identical genes, they often use them in different ways. A gene's activity, or expression, can be turned up or down like the volume on a radio. So the same gene can be turned up high in humans, but very low in chimps. The same genes are expressed in the same brain regions in human, chimp and gorilla, but in different amounts. Thousands of differences like these affect brain development and function, and help explain why the human brain is larger and smarter. Slightly different genes. The chimpanzee immune system is surprisingly similar to ours. Most viruses that cause diseases, like AIDS and hepatitis, can infect chimpanzees too. But chimps don't get infected by the malaria parasite Plasmodium falciparum, which a mosquito can transmit through its bite into human blood. A small DNA difference makes human red blood cells vulnerable to this parasite, while chimp blood cells are resistant. High degree of functional similarity does not mean common ancestry with chimps. There are some of crucial differences between humans and chimps. Human-specific genes, of which there may be over 600 genes unique to our human genome. There are substantial differences in gene expression between humans and chimpanzees, particularly in the brain. We are the only species that uses fire and technology. We are the only species that composes music, writes poetry, and practices religion. We are also the only species that seeks to investigate the natural world through science. We write papers about chimps, not the other way around. All of this is possible because we humans are the only species that uses complex language. The human race has unique and unparalleled moral, intellectual, and creative abilities. Regardless of the level of similarity of human protein coding DNA to chimps, clearly that similarity is only a small part of the story.